Square Brigadier by Ross McFarlane. Yeah, I'll Google that later and have a look. Might be worth down. I always like to collect rules, even homebrewed stuff like that, because there's always something useful. So I think Steph said he was going to use them with DBN.
Yeah. I'll have to look them up myself. I never heard of them.
I'll have a look. See what it says, if I can find anything.
Square Brigadier. There you go, folks. Do some Googling and check them out yourself. See what that's all about.
Square Brigadier, free games rules. Yeah, okay. First rough synthesis of Hearts of Tin, my version of colourless chess board game. A very, very rough first edition, apparently. Nice.
Something else to download and add to the collection.
Yeah. Square Brigadier, very, very rough first draft. Amended after test. The current version of the rules is available here. Right, okay. Let's click on that. 4 pages. Square Brigadier, 3rd edition draft, 18th of May 2013. Oh, a bit of a while ago then.
Huh.
This is the latest draft of a set of simple rules for horse and musketeer battle fought on a gridded playing field. A word version will be posted once the rules are more settled. Okay.
Huh. It uses a grid?
Apparently so, yeah. But, this is only 3 and a bit pages long, but the one Steph was looking at, there was a lot more pages, so I'm wondering if this is, it's from that 2013, so I wonder if there's a more up-to-date one. Let's see.
One more base. Or no, I think I just did it. Yeah, I did. Double up on the green. Yeah, there must be an updated version.
No,
2014 is a long time ago.
yeah, I think that's it, 2013. Oh, I'll have a word with Steph next time he's on. See if he's got a later one and a link. Yeah, you can never have too many rule sets.
So there, I got the helmets done.
One more job done. What's next? Packs.
I don't know. Probably the packs, because they're almost, and the weapons, they're almost done. See, this is the phase that slows me down. Well, it's so obvious what to start with, you know, the guns, the tunic, the helmets, the flesh, the boots. Then you start getting into the little pieces and the right shade for the not muskets, but the weapon barrels and the pack, blankets. That always slows me down. So I got to stop and I got to look and do I want a variety of colors, or are they all going to be uniform colors for blankets and things?
Well, it's British, isn't it? So it's going to be either brown or bloody khaki.
Yeah.
They didn't go mad, you know.
Well, in that case, these are done.
Yeah, there you go. Brown or bloody khaki, that's it. That's all we got.
One thing that's going to be interesting for me, these Perry miniatures. I haven't done anything with them weeks now, but only because I haven't been painting much at all. These are going to be interesting for me because I think it was Stefan that was giving me some advice on painting various colors of white and stuff. And one of the things I took from that, I've got it so ingrained in my head that when I paint, particularly big figures, but 15s as well, to use black lining. I've always done it. When I first started painting figures, well, not when I started first painting figures, but initially, I used to prime everything white. And then I would paint every part of the clothing and the equipment the proper color, red, blue, whatever. There was none of this black lining concept. And I always painted up to the edges. Soon after that, I found, hey, there's a fast way of painting, and it's called black lining. And it's where you prime your figures black, and instead of painting up to the edges of things, you leave gaps. So you always have this dark black shade going on, which really makes the colors stand out and contrast against one another. My problem is I've gotten older and my eyes are shut. My black lines are getting huge, and it doesn't look as appealing. So listening to Stefan and how he paints his Austrians, white uniforms, which is great technique that he uses. But one thing I picked up from it was the idea of, you know what? He primes his figures gray, or it could be any color, brown, it could be white. But what he does is he paints his figures, he paints up to the edges. I stopped doing that a long time ago because I primed in black. So I think what I'm going to do with these Perrys is go back to that style of painting where I'm going to prime these. I'm not sure what I'm going to prime them, maybe gray, maybe blue, but I have to understand that I'm not going to leave gaps. So if I painted them all blue, there isn't going to be blue gaps showing. I'm going to paint those edges right up to the edges. No more leaving gaps that I'm used to doing. And I'm going to see what happens. These guys will probably prime blue. And I'll just paint all the equipment, the weapons, the face, the skin, everything right up to the edges. No gaps. Like where the cuff meets the hand, there won't be a black shade in there. I'll be painting that flesh, and then it'll be a blue cuff coming all the way down to the flesh. So this will be different for me, but I think it's going to pay off because I realize that after this, you're going to give it a wash, and then you're going to pick out with highlights and things. And it would probably make a more appealing looking figure for me. I just got this thing in my head of conditioned to use black lining.
Never tried black lining, never done it.
Even if I'm not painting in black. I've had a difficult time with that. Like when those 10 millimeter figures I was working on, Napoleonics, I primed them all gray, if you remember. And when I was painting them, because I have this habit, I never painted up to edges. I left gray showing between them, and it bugged me. And so it's like I got a break from that, you know, stop leaving the gaps and learn to paint up to edges instead. So it's going to be a little bit of practice. to do that again.
We'll just do one figure, see how we get on.
Screw it. I'm doing all of them.
Yeah, but do one figure from start to finish to see if you like it. And if you don't,
I'm just going to try painting up to the edges and avoid black altogether. It'll be fun. I used to do it, like I said, when I first started painting in the early days, Citadels, I primed everything in white, and I literally painted every color up to the edges, and that's what it was. And then I used inks for my washes. And it was definitely a different looking figure from what I paint now, because I didn't do it in black. It was white, for God's sake. I was painting high elves, so they have to look bright anyway. That was the idea. Well, I am going to try that. We'll see what happens. I've been in this hobby 30 plus years, going on 40 years. Maybe not closing in. And I'm still learning how to paint.
I think everybody does. You always find something new, or you see something new and try it.
Lots of details on them, but it's a very clean figure. And there's nothing on these figures that looks questionable. Like, what is that? What is that thing? You know, it's pretty obvious what you're painting, which is nice. Unfortunately, with some of the old glories, metal figures, I love the poses, but the quality is nothing like this. You don't get clear, crisp details like this. And there's a lot of things on those figures that you're wondering, what is this? What am I painting? Is this a piece of flash that I'm painting into a canteen? Not the case with these. So this will be a fun experiment for me. Try and paint these a different style that I'm used to. No black lining. Probably going to prime them blue. Certainly not going to prime them white.
Yeah.
That I don't like.
Well, my last 6 mils, what I did them Romans, I primed them black, and I never primed black because I cannot see now, but it works. And there was a lot less painting because the black does it clear.
Yeah. It's good for small figures.
Mm.
It really is. Especially that small.
Yeah, because you're only blobbing on. I mean, the colour of the skate thing, and you've got the shield and the bit of a breastplate, helmet, and that's it. You're done. Job's finished.
We'll see. I hope to get to them pretty soon. I have to look at the bases. Well, actually, no, I don't. Not yet. That's too soon. I'm already thinking about basing them. Get some.
Well, you said summer bases, didn't you?
Yeah. I think I'm going to use Litco bases, 3 millimeters thick. And I'm going to use probably a foam board with an X-Acto knife, using like one of the Litco bases as a thing to go around. You know, so it'll come out perfect. And you can cut all the way through it. So I don't know. We'll see. But I got the helmets all finished. I made a couple mistakes. Got to go back with the flesh because I got green on the forehead or something. So that'll have to be fixed. Woe is me. But I'm happy with that. Next session, I'll start working on probably, I don't know, either the packs or the weapons. We're just talking about Rommel. How great a game that would be to play on big battles. Use it for big battles, World War II battles. Because it's like 1 kilometer per 6-inch square of the tabletop. That's 1 kilometer. So you're fighting on a battlefield that is literally 12 kilometers by 8 kilometers. That's a pretty decent sized battlefield.
Hmm.
And if you transferred that to a map that was 3 times that size, you had little counters and stuff showing companies moving around like that, that would be easy to do. You can fight out an entire culmination of a campaign if you wanted. And then just break it down in the tabletops when you want to break out the miniatures. That would be so easy. I was thinking how you could do that same concept with other periods of history. Like I always thought about Blucher and its game mechanic for setting up campaigns. And the way it works is you got about a maximum of 4 columns. Your army is 4 columns in size. You're always 4 columns. You have to divide them up into 4 columns. That sounds like a game thing to me. That's not exactly historical. But you're forced to form up into 4 columns, and what size there is up to you, and there could be a dummy. So this is obviously a game mechanic, not simulating realism, in my opinion. But if you were to take that same concept and use it with a different period, like let's say, I always thought about World War II, but I've been talking enough about that. Let's look at American Civil War is kind of similar. Let's say Ancients. It's substantially different. In my opinion, the problem with Ancients armies is they tend to stick together. They don't break apart into these corps-sized forces and move independently of each other. They're a giant army, and they move around to look for the opposing giant army, and they fight an agreed place to fight, or unagreed, and they all fight. There isn't this grand maneuver and stuff going on, so I don't know how that would work for that period. To have multi-columns. And if you say, oh, well, we'll just have each army be represented by 1 counter, and the remaining 3, for instance, let's stick with this game principle or game mechanic of 4 columns per army. Let's say only 1 of them was the army. The other 3 are scouts and false counters. They're not real armies, but you never know which is which unless you own that army. So you still could play it, but there's a lot of deception and a lot of moving around, which kind of makes me think, you know what? Let's build on this and add more counters representing scouts and fakes. I don't know how far you could go with that, but the whole idea is you're trying to simulate the pre-battle maneuvering during an ancient battle. How much of this is realistic using columns and scouts in 1 single army? It would work. 1 counter is 1 army. But you'd have to, I don't know. Now that I think about it, maybe I'm wrong, because like in Blucher, this is 1 army broken up into 4, but eventually they get to this tabletop and it shows the deployments of each portion of the army. It's like 1/4 of the army for each column. And when you deploy them on the tabletop, they're all there. So couldn't you do the same thing with an ancient army? Have it broken up into 4 parts or 3 parts? And it just determines their deployment on the tabletop? I guess you could.
Well, they would have had scouts, the same as modern day armies. They would have had mounted units out searching for the enemy. And if you have something like Blucher, where you can scout the enemy, the column, and then you can say, oh, it's another scouting force, so you found the real McCoy, then you can maneuver to get your army into an advantageous position to meet the other army. I suppose you could do it that way.
Yeah. I'm not thinking there is scouts in Blucher's campaign system. They're not a counter. They're actually a scouting factor or something in the game. But I don't know. I just thought it was cool to look at Blucher's campaign system and try and use the same thing with a different period. Because it's fun. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you're playing out this cool little map movement thing, and you're a pro at it.
Yeah, undefeated so far. 2 out of 2.
It's a great game, folks. If you haven't tried Blucher, it's It's one of those games. It's a joy to read. It's an easy read, enjoyable read. And it should be on everybody's bookshelf. It's so well written. And if you're new to Napoleonics, that's the way to go. You know, even if you go beyond that later on down the road. It's how I got into it, really. And it's fun. And it's great for live plays, playing online. As we've demonstrated, I've done about 4 of them or so. I'd love to do another one. We'll see. Not against Ian, though. He's just terrible. Just brutal.
Yeah.
He plays that pre-battle campaign deployment so well that you're lucky if you even have 1 core against his 4 at the start of the battle.
That's the way to do it. Get them beat what's on the table before the reserves can come in.
Yeah. Of course, I never play. I get to watch. I think the only time I played Blucher against one of you guys was with Neil. Me and him in the chat, and we played. I don't know if we finished it or not. I think we did, but it was just me and him. It was the only time I played. It was fun.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's light and easy to pick up, and you can just get on with it. It's a fun game. And it certainly gives a feel of the period.
Yeah, at that scale it does, for sure. It's fun, rolling all those dice. I don't know, it was catchy with me. Like Flames of War is catchy with me, the way it uses dice in the game. Blucher does the same for me. It's that use of, okay, what's your Élan rating? Okay, it's 5. Okay, you roll 5 dice when you attack. You need double 5s or 6s. And throw them down. Boy, you could wipe another unit out in one go. Or not. Get nothing. It's fantastic. I remember one battle I was fighting solo. And this is me. This is me playing solo. But I remember my French were advancing up this sloped hill. And at the top of the hill were these dug-in Russians. Classic, right? They got the breastworks going. They had Cossacks on the flank. These Cossacks were used perfectly. They distracted at least an entire brigade of French advancing. They distracted them entirely for the whole battle and kept them out of the assault against those breastworks. Just by being there and getting so close, but not able, if French aren't able to counter them, they're just there, sucking up and absorbing this entire brigade. I played it well against myself. I knew what I was doing, but I was playing it as the Russians and I was playing it as the French, and what's going on, and it's cool to witness it because that stuff happened. And that's why I'm able to do that. Let myself distract myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can do that easily, can't you?
I mean, how else are you going to do it, though? Because you got the French, 3 brigades marching up the hill. You got Cossacks on this one flank here. You got to do something about those Cossacks, because if you don't, they're going to charge your infantry from the rear or something. So you got to commit a brigade to kind of face their direction to keep them from doing that. So what else are you going to do? So you kind of got to do it anyway. But the thing was, the Cossacks never attacked. They sat there just at the right distance to always be a threat. And that brigade was tied up, and it didn't do anything in the battle, essentially. I think the French were sent packing down the hill in that battle. But I had a lot of fun moments playing that, even solo.
Yeah. It's a good set of rules. I've used it for ACW as well, using the Chamberlain variant. And it's not much different to the Napoleonics, just a few nuances different, but it works well for that as well.
Yep, it does. I think it would work well for the Prussian War, Austro-Prussian War, all that 19th century stuff going on. I think it would.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it'll work for any of them. If it's musket and powder era and cavalry, I think you've cracked it. Artillery, of course. That's another thing with Blucher. You've got to be careful on your artillery because you only get 6 shots or 7 if you wish.
Yep, that's another thing unique to the game. You got to know when to commit that artillery and use it. It's so easy to just blast away and suddenly it's all gone.
Yeah.
That ain't real.
Do you go into counter battery fire, which is difficult, or do you go for the heavy cuirassiers hurtling towards you up the hill? You know, you've got to make that choice. When do you fire?
Good game.
Back in 2 secs, Curtis.
All right. So yeah, if you haven't tried Blucher, give it a whirl. It's worth having. Nice hardback, well illustrated. Great picks. Great game system. Of course, it comes with those decks of cards too. You don't need miniatures to play. That was my first game actually with Bluchers, with the decks of cards, because I didn't have no miniatures. All these years, I've never pulled the trigger on Napoleonics. It's just so intimidating, I think, for anybody new to the hobby. Napoleonics, oh my God, look at all those uniforms. It must be crazy. I can't get into that. You need hundreds of miniatures. You could say the same thing about any period, really. But I hear Ian.
Yeah, I'm back.
But yeah, I used the cards to get into Blucher, and that's what got me into Napoleonics. I was hooked by it. It really pulled me into the Napoleonic gaming. And a good introduction for me, because I've moved on to other things only because my interest in tactical level battles. But Blucher's the way to go if you've never played Napoleonics before.
Yeah, them cards are a boom because you don't have to paint. You don't have to buy or paint a single figure if you don't want to. You can play it just using the cards. And they look good.
Yeah, they do. It's a shame not to use them for something. We use them for our online games using that solo card technique. Instead of momentum dice, we used momentum cards.
Yeah.
I use them for that. They're beautiful.
Always looking at them. A lot of them top-down cards are good. I bought them 2 sets by, I think it's a Spanish company, Onus, and there's the Romans and the Carthaginians and the Greeks and the Persians, and the top-down views of the units with the stats. And you don't need figures with them, you just use the cards.
What game is that?
Onus, O-N-U-S. And it's made by a Spanish company.
Huh.
And the reason I got them, because I've got the board game Pax Romana, and I thought that's broke down into the 4 factions: Rome, Greece, Carthage, and they call it the East, which is Seleucids basically, but it's Persians. And I thought that when I was doing the Pax Romana, sometimes when you come to a battle, instead of it being done by a dice roll and shifts, I could put the cards out on the table depending on the size of the force, however many heavy infantry they've got, how many cavalry they've got, if they've got elephants, and do it in a type of Art de Guerre or DBA style battle using the cards rather than just the roll of a dice, you know. It would make it quite interesting because you're moving away from the board game. Well, it's going to take forever to play the bloody board game if you do every battle. I mean, I'm a decent sized battle. I don't mean just a skirmish with 2 units against a garrison, so that'd be a waste of time. But if you've got, like a DBA or a Art de Guerre style size army going off against each other, you could do that. So you move away from the board game to another little table and fight the battle out using Art de Guerre. That gives you your result. rather than just a single dice roll.
Life to Laguerre is a good game.
Mm.
There's a lot of good games. It's hard to say, you know. When I look at any period, but Ancients, yeah, DBMM is fantastic. DBA is fantastic for what it's trying to do. L'Art de la Guerre is great, and there's other ones like Mortimit Gloriam. I've never played it. I have it, but everybody says it's great. I've never got into it because of the cards. I don't like using cards for some reason. I don't know. But there's a lot of great games. None of these are bad. They all are good in their own ways and are fun to play. It's tough.
Most of it Glorium's good. The cards just allow you to do certain things, and if you get crappy cards, you can't do things you want to do. You know, you're limited to what you can do.
Yeah.
And we just, when I've played live or when I've played games, instead of having the cards on the table, I just use coloured discs.
Yeah.
You know, because it's either black, white, yellow, red, or green. I just use a disc. So you don't have a great stack of cards laid on the table. You've just got these coloured discs, which mean the same thing. So you can get away with not using the cards. But they're ideal to dish them out when you deal them out, and then just replace them with the coloured discs.
So you can use like rubies, colored rubies, for instance.
Yeah, I'm just using little half-inch plastic discs. You know, like you get in Ludo or something like that. You know, standard little plastic round discs.
What do? Do you randomly draw them, and that's the color?
I use the cards. So say I have to. My commander can have 4 cards. I deal 4 cards, turn them over. Let's say he's got 1 white, 2 greens, and a yellow. Well, then I give him 1 white disc, 2 green discs, and a yellow disc. Take the cards away, and that's his command points, and then he can play them as he wishes.
So you could, if you know the proportion of colors in the deck, you could use like a bag and just put all those rubies in there or discs and draw them out randomly.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
That's not bad. I don't mind that.
You just don't know what you're going to get. You see, the only reason I use the cards is just because they're easy to shuffle, just to dish them out, and then swap them out with the disc. But you could do your way just as easy if you know how many of each colour there is. And it does tell you how many of each colour there is. You just put that number of discs in a bag and draw them.
Huh. I'll have to take a look at it. Well, like I said, there's all these rules are good. Even if I don't play it, doesn't mean it's not good. But there's a lot, and there's so much to choose from. This is an issue for me. People like me because I like to focus on just one thing, one set of rules. Maybe and keep a bunch up for change of pace now and again. I don't like bouncing around. I know some people do, but I like to focus and work on that one set of rules that just keeps me occupied for years to come. That's a dream for me.
Well, with Nick, we've done Spear Point, we've done Mortimit Glorium. Our next battle we're doing Hail Caesar.
There you are.
So far, my favourite is certainly Mortimit Glorium. But we'll see what Hail Caesar has to offer. I mean, there's a lot of good things in Hail Caesar. There's a few gamey things in it as well. But we'll see. We're going to see how it plays out. We're going to do a big medieval battle.
Yeah. Did you see the pics of his 15 mil collection? Oh, they're huge.
Yeah, 3,000 odd figures. Oh. So there's going to be quite a few divisions on the table, methinks.
Yeah, I got to hand it to him. He's one of those rare individuals that commits himself to that one, in his case, Middle Ages, the medieval warfare, that era, and just collected and painted them. I don't think he's ever done anything else.
No, I don't think he has. I think that's his sole game is medieval era. And board games, he has medieval board games as well.
But
It is. You've got so many choices. We're like butterflies, aren't we? We're hopping from one to another.
yeah, it's tough. It is tough. But it's worth committing to something, because then you get what he has, and he's got two different scales of figures for this one era, thousands of figures. And he could fight out these humongous battles, set up some beautiful scenic dioramas if you wanted. Get a lot of enjoyment out of that.
Yeah. We have a good fun. I've kicked his butt twice with his own soldiers, so he's after a victory now.
Yeah, imagine that. The wonders of online gaming. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's good fun. You can't say you don't have an opponent. There's always a chance of an opponent when you play online. Somebody will join. Especially if you've set up the table and you're moving the figures and all they have to do is roll the dice and give the orders, they'll be more than happy to play.
Yeah. I've only done that a couple times. I've not much experience at being the player. I played 40K with Vince twice. It was all right. I think one of the downsides for me is that Vince's camera wasn't the best, and he's all over the place at times. It was hard to follow. But I think if it was done, stable camera or multiple cameras, clear pictures, I think it would be a lot more enjoyable for me. I was sitting there playing, but it was still fun. So I'd like to try it. I'd like one of you guys. Nick's got a great camera, fantastic camera, and I'm waiting to see how it turns out with you and him.
We're having a get together on Wednesday to decide on the armies and what the scenario is going to be, and then probably be kicking it off Thursday or Friday, I would have thought.
Awesome.
But it'll take a few sessions to play it through, I think. Because Agincourt did, I think. Agincourt was 3 or 4 sessions to get to the end of that one.
Yeah. You haven't seen his new camera yet in the chat?
Oh, I've seen it in action, yeah.
Have you? Oh.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures from it. Yeah, it's good, nice and clear.
Dang. That'll be good. That makes a difference. That makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah, it's better than the crappy laptop camera. I mean, even the iPad gives you a better clarity than this does.
Every once in a while, I go back to some of our first sessions, and they were fuzzy at best. They were pretty good, not bad, but they were still fuzzy, and that was all because I was using I had my phone, and I had 2 laptop cameras, and they weren't the best, but it was pretty good, and my lighting wasn't great. Now I upped my cameras, I upped my lighting, up my computers and everything, different ball game now, but it makes a difference. If you can get that clear picture, I can see how it really make a difference and make it extremely enjoyable for the viewer as well as for the player.
I think he's got that camera set up and he's linking it to there'll be the laptop as well, and there'll be his good camera, so we should have a couple of views of the field, and you'll be able to click on whichever camera you want to watch. And I'm going to set up my iPad if I can, so that whoever's watching can see the dice roll rather than me just saying what I've got, because it's always better to see the roll.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people say, yeah, nobody's that bloody lucky, lying git.
I don't know. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. It's been a while since I've done that. Folks, I'm going to call an end to the live portion of this chat. I'm getting exhausted. Chat isn't over yet, of course, but I am going to call this session off. Thanks for watching. It's only me and Ian this time, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate Stefan couldn't get his get a better connection. He said he's always got something enjoyable to talk over regarding the hobby. But we'll be doing this again probably on next Sunday. That's the schedule. I try to do these every Sunday. So stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed. So, yeah. Okay.
Good night.
Take care, folks.